go. So cool. I'm gonna look at her and answer questions. So let's rock and roll. So what do you got
Let's
for me,
rock and
Bernadette?
roll.
I
Excellent.
promised her an interview at the No Excuses event, but I was so elusive because it was Father's Day and I was spending so much time. Hey, Elmiris, how are you, girl? Um,
Family.
and then we never got it done. I was hanging out with the family, so I like to be a man of my word as best I can. So we're doing it now, and she's on. What is this? This is
Google Hangouts.
Google Hangouts. That's what we're on, and so I'm gonna pay attention to her, and you guys get to listen and keep it down, okay?
Drop your questions in.
What do you got? Oh, how are you, Brittany? It's your show. I'm gonna shut up. I'll let you take over from here.
Great. Hi guys. I am on a call with Greg Gomez III. He's an awesome guy. He's a top trainer, coach. See the smile. His halo is getting bigger. And you know, I've been following Greg for a while, at least 2 years, because I met you 2 years ago, and I saw you last year at No Excuses as well. And this year, I decided to be bolder, and I jumped out in front of Greg and says, "Hey, Greg, can I get an interview?"
Nice.
And yes, he was elusive most of the time during the event because he was a busy guy. He was a speaker on stage, gave us awesome content from the stage, and if you want to learn how to speak fast, he can teach you how to learn. He can teach you how to speak fast.
It's a Micro Machines home study course.
Yeah. So the first question I'd like to ask you, Greg, I termed this hangout "How to Become a Master Closer." And you kind of have to follow a script.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you is why scripts work and who learn from?
Okay, so I'm going to repeat your question because I'm not sure if they can hear it because of the microphone interface here. So the question I heard you ask was, closing is it's one of the most important things to learn to do in business and sales and direct sales, so you can start to get more people in your business. And why scripts and what is the importance of using them to get more sales? Is that your question? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm a big advocate for scripts, for scripting. I find that scripting is, even now I use scripts, although I don't have one here. I do have one on my computer screen. Whenever I'm on the phone doing standardized prospecting or closing for my prospects, I follow scripts along the way. And literally what it does is it takes a baseline of effective salesmanship and allows you to work off of that framework as a new prospect or a new presenter or a new closer. So I like scripts a lot. The challenge with scripting and what people say is when you're reading a script, you sound forced, you sound fake, you sound artificial, it doesn't sound legitimate, right? It doesn't sound right, organic. And so what I tell folks is that you need to memorize your scripts, you need to use those scripts because they give you a good baseline. But then in addition to that, once you have that down, you then need to break that mold. One of my favorite movies is Finding Bobby Fischer. It's a movie about chess. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Bernadette. If you guys haven't, it's a great movie. Ben Kingsley in it, some little kid. He's the next prodigy. And Bobby Fischer is a world-renowned, goes eventually kind of crazy, but one of the world's best chess players, okay? Long story short, with Bobby Fischer, or Finding Bobby Fischer, this kid's playing chess with Ben Kingsley, and Ben sets up the table and says, okay, don't make a move until you can beat me in 9 moves, essentially, 9 or 11 moves, something like that. He says, don't move until you can see it. So the kid looks down at the chessboard, and it's all set up, and he's sitting there, and he's looking at it, and he's having a hard time figuring it out. Ben Kingsley finally says, here, let me help you. And he wipes all the pieces off the chessboard, everything hits the floor. The kid looks over, doesn't get shocked, doesn't have any problems at all, just kind of looks back at the chessboard and then sits down and starts looking at it again, right? Great movie, you should watch it. Point of that I took away and then why that was impactful for me is that that chessboard is scripts. Now, we learn to play the game of chess by modeling others, reading books, learning the rules. That doesn't mean we can play it. It means we understand the rules and the movements. Scripts are that. They help you get the baseline of the games down, right? Eventually, though, you'll get to a point that when you want to be a master chess player, which is not unlike master salesmanship, then what winds up happening is you need to learn how to be able to see the moves before you make your first move. And that's where you become a master salesperson. And the key to that is understanding the rules, understanding the boundaries, and then wiping the pieces away and following that structure, but dancing within it, right? So that's how I explain scripts. That's how I typically voice to folks that if you're going to use a script, awesome, you should. The challenge with scripting is that you can't, if you use them for too long, you become artificial and inorganic. So I still use them to this day. I'll use my script. I'll start reading them for the first couple of presentations, prospecting processes. And then once I got my baseline down, then I will set the script aside. I'll still follow the script, but I'll also improvise where I need to. Key thing with scripts that people don't do often enough is that I write words down that I use that are familiar to me. They're within my repertoire, right? Like the word repertoire. Silly word. It's fun to say though. A lot of people can't pull that word off. They say it and they'll say, repertoire, and they don't get it. It comes out inorganically. So they could change that to, that's within my wheelhouse, right? You can change a word to fit your vernacular. That's another $8 word. I got that one at Walmart on special. It's good stuff. Whatever fits your personality, whatever is good for you and your ability to speak. So whenever you pick these words up, if I put a word in there, it's like perpendicular. It's like, all right, and then you could say, okay, the two lines next to each other. Whatever is normal speak for you, that's organic. So if you take your script, the first thing to do is you humanize it for yourself. You'll find that you wind up actually do it the way they wrote it, get their understanding and why they were saying those things first, and then make your adjustment for your language. Don't change the structure of the script, but change the flavor of it to match your seasoning styles. So that's it. Those are the best ways.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Can you repeat the name of that movie again?
I think it's Finding Bobby Fischer. Searching
Bobby Fischer. Excellent. Okay, great. Next question I have for you is that, yes, you have built many businesses, and the one that you're focusing on right now is qualifying people, taking them through your system and showing them how to close and how to get sales for their business. All right. Now, my big question after you found your strategy and what works for you, how do you keep people excited to hear from you again and again, every day, once a week, however often you do decide to connect with your list? Yes, your list.
Okay. That's a good question. Now I'm starting to get to back. All right, so for me, I don't ever presume to know the answer. To me, I just try to be my authentic, organic self and try to communicate as much value. I'll tell you, the way that I keep people interested, it seems, is aside from my winning here, is I really work on trying to ask what my audience wants. So I know what I want to teach. Is that what you want to hear? So I actually ask folks constant surveys when I'm engaging on stage. I mean, even like at No Excuses when I was on stage, I prepared this presentation, and what I learned by surveying the group was that my presentation was talking to the wrong people. It was talking to the super advanced folks on presentation. So I had to bring it back and talk to the basics of what it is, and really personalize it that way. And I talked about it on Facebook, guys. I built this upper part to really make it functional. I don't care where these guys think you should be. I'm going to talk to you where you are. What do you are? And then the audience raises their hand and say, I survey this, and I give them what they specifically need. And when I do that, I get more engagement to start with where people are. So the best way to keep people engaged, in my opinion, start with it. Focus on what they need right now, and then you can adjust their trajectory to where you feel they need to go. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. All right, excellent. That's an excellent answer. And guys, looking, I hope you seriously got value from that. Because when you start in a business that you're the boss of, that you're in control of where your business goes, it's important to absolutely believe who you are and believe in what you sell, because that's what Greg means, authenticity, because you can't have authenticity if you're kind of not feeling so great about what it is that you're selling. That makes sense, Greg?
Absolutely.
Correct. And that's where you get your authenticity from.
That's right.
And what do you have?
One of my toys. It's a world.
Exactly. Your audience is the world.
Yeah, sure. That too. It's just I like it all the way around. It doesn't. Anyways, it's mesmerizing.
Nice.
Those watching.
It looks like it's floating in your hand. You're doing magic.
All right.
Very good. All right. Excellent. Now, I met you at No Excuses 2 weeks ago, and I interrupted your speed walk. Do you remember that? You kind of racing across, and I jumped out in front of you.
Definitely move with purpose for sure.
That's what I was getting. My question to you is how did you learn to make people smile, and why is it important to learn how to make people smile? Because you kind of mentioned that on stage too.
For me, so the question is, if you guys had a hard time hearing, is how did I learn how to make people smile, and why did I learn? Why do I feel that's important? Is that what I heard you saying? Okay.
Yep. That's the question.
So there's some static in between our computers, so I'm muting you, so I'm not getting all the feedback on my side. But bottom line is that actually this might not be the happy answer you're looking for. My comedic response to things is actually a defense mechanism I developed when I was really young. I grew up in a really abusive household. My stepfather was very physically abusive to my mother, and it was just, I'll bore you guys with I won't bore you with the details, but it was a very abusive household. So, and parents divorced, and there's a lot of studies done that say when parents, my biological parents divorced, my mom remarried, and he was an abusive person. And so what a lot of studies will say is people who are really funny at an early age are usually use that as a defense mechanism versus to combat kind of the seriousness of their actual life, because if not, it'd be a terrible existence. Robin Williams is a good example of that. I don't know what his youth was like, but you can see that he was a pretty dark person in the end, but he was a hilarious person. And a lot of times it's a defense mechanism. So now, that being said, don't feel bad for me, guys. I've lived a blessed life. I've come to peace with a lot of different things that have happened in my life. My stepfather is one of my favorite people in the world. He just celebrated his birthday, went over and surprised him this past weekend. And the video I shot on stage, I shot a video that basically was thanking my dad from Father's Day and telling him I love him. Thank you for the sacrifice he made, all the lessons he taught me. Even from the negative stuff, I learned great lessons on how I want to be a parent. And he, I have a great relationship with that man. I love him dearly. He's taught me so much. And the importance of making people smile stemmed from that little kid. I look back at myself as that little kid, and I see myself as somebody who had not a lot of good things going on in his life at that time. One of them was video games. And so when I would play a video game, I would escape into that world. So whenever I see kids specifically, when I see adults who I consider, still have little kids inside them, you can make a person smile. If you can, even if their day's going to hell in a handbag, and you can give a smile, you're more well perceived, you're more well liked, you're an attractive person, because you can bring joy to other people, than if you're that person that's kind of negative all the time. And I'll tell you one thing for sure about me, although I'm fun and I'm kind of laughing all the time, making jokes, as of late, I've noticed myself becoming very negative, and I think that's partly because of who I've been hanging out with and things that I've been doing in my life. So I'll negatively comment. My wife calls me on it. My wife's a beautiful, wonderfully strong person, and she'll like, wow, you're really negative on this. Where's that coming from? And so like, I don't know. I'll figure that out later. But now I'm starting to pay attention to whenever I am making a negative comment, turning it around and saying, you know what, let's say something positive about this. What's the good side of it? Let's focus on the good stuff and move forward from there. And to answer your question more directly, a smile is a great way to get people to like you. A smile is a great way to get people to open up and trust you. And for me, one of the main directives in my life is not to manipulate people. I don't look, because people think of sales as manipulation. That's not what I try to do. My focus in sales is to find truth. I try to seek my prospects' truth. I try to seek everyone's truth. My children, my wife, my colleagues, strangers on the street. I want to find truth. I want to figure out what their true story is. Because if I can make a person smile, if I can make a joke and it's funny and people haha, they genuinely like you. And when that like borders trust and transcends into trust, then people will tell you their truth. And for me, it all starts with a smile. So whenever you can, make people smile.
Exactly. And you know, when people get into this thing about building rapport and connecting with people, I mean, seriously, the simplest skill that we all have is the smile. You know, just smile. You know, so many people go around kind of gloomy and glum. And I just spent a week in Toronto, and my focus, my purpose every day was to make and stop all the people who passed me in the street, smiled at them and told them good morning. And it was amazing how many grumpy people were on the streets of Toronto. So I was just like, it's okay, I'm just giving away smiles.
Absolutely. And
So
if you're absolutely, if you're the person that kind of, if they're going along, I mean, as a telemarketer, even you think who is one of the most, outside of door-to-door salespeople, the most hated people in the world are telemarketers, right? And I started my career as a telemarketer, and I didn't want to be that guy that came around and pushed and hung up, and because I saw a lot of that demonstrated around me, I wanted to, you know, help people. And there were times where I'd call people and I could tell that they'd gotten terrible news, and I could just read them, and I would just, I'm in here, what's going on? Tell me what's happening. And I'd spend 10, 15 minutes with folks just letting them vent where they didn't have a place to talk. And I've heard horrible, tragic stories, people losing their family, their husbands, their children to car accidents. They just got diagnosed with cancer. Just terrible news. Their parents had just passed away. A project that they'd been working on had completely imploded. They were filing for bankruptcy before bankruptcy was really a thing, as big as it was in 2008, 2009. And just to be that voice for them to turn them around, I don't, you know, some people say, well, how's that ever going to benefit you as a salesperson, as a marketer? I don't know that it ever will. It makes me feel good, and I know it impacts this person. And if that's the case, you know, okay, then that's the extent of it. But I'm recharging my batteries to go on and talk to more people and impact more lives. And isn't that really at the end of the day what it's about? So for me, that's, you know, a smile is where it all starts. So I digress. Continue.
Great. Excellent. And to close it all off, I would like to say if you can share a little bit about the system that you have developed, which is pretty much your last business that you are working and are doing great with, just to help our viewers who are looking. Tell us a little bit more about your business so that if they decide that they want what you have, they would happily connect with you.
Sure. We're doing several different things. I've had businesses online predominantly concentrating on home business owners, network marketers, direct sales associates since 2003. So for over 12 years now, going on 13 years, coming up here soon. I've been online coaching on how to do prospecting, presenting, objection handling, Q&A, how to answer questions, closing, lead generation, online funnels, offline funnels, how to be able to engage with groups, how to build small teams, how to take your organic team from you by yourself selling to 2 to 3 core salespeople or agents and prospectors on your team to 10, 20 people in your organization, or as big as you want to scale. And so the main product we've done, and what I call this is my blueprint. It's my MLM business blueprint. Now, we are transitioning from the MLM business blueprint. That product will always be there. It will always be a part of what it is we do for folks. You can get information from it at mlmbusinessblueprint.com. But we're transitioning into a new business identity called Fast Start Marketer, faststartmarketer.com. And Fast Start Marketer is essentially what we've done over the last 12 years and looking to put together processes that look to take you as the home business owner and get you as quickly as possible to that first benchmark of results, getting leads, getting traffic, getting sales, whatever that looks like for you and your business, wherever you are, helping you get that first baseline thing, your first signups, your first people on your team, getting a fast start to your recruiting, to your marketing, to your business growth. And so that's the nature, that's the core principles behind what Fast Start Marketer is founded on. We have our summit that's coming up, which we did last year. This is our second annual summit in November. And the Fast Start Summit is phenomenal. We had 75 people in the first rendition of it. Very intimate, hands-on, workshop style, groups broken into where they best fit. And that's the core of where our whole philosophy is. Start with where you are as a marketer. You are where you're supposed to be as a marketer, exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Don't look at where you're not. Don't look at what you should be. Don't look at what might have been. You are where you're supposed to be today, right now, where you're supposed to be. And as that marketer, we look to identify where that is, honor what that is, and then help you take that next step, and then readjust. This is where I am now, and then the next step, the next step. When you focus on that, when you concentrate on I'm reading some of the questions these guys have posted on my Periscope. It's pretty funny, zombie fights. When you concentrate on that, though, from an entrepreneur standpoint, what you ultimately do is you wind up empowering them to be able to take the most important step, which isn't making $1 million. It's taking that next step toward your next dollar of profitability. And so that's the nature of what we do. That's what we focus on. That's my passion. That's what I've done for buzzwords killing it. I've been doing that for 12 years now and going forward, and that's exactly what we look to do with entrepreneurs now. So someone saying buzzwords and all this jargon. Look, talk to people, find out what they want, find your truth, get a sale, get people involved, help them change their lives. You're going to wind up making a bigger impact in your business, your recruiting, your overall process, the people you're going to help, and that's really what it's all about. It's not about this fluffy. Are you a cop? I try to be sometimes. It's not about all of these systems that you have in place that are like online magical attraction systems, marketing videos. It's none of that. Do you connect with people? Do you make an impact in their life? And do you help them move forward in getting a sale? So that's it. All right.
Love it, love it, love it. Simple steps, and it all starts with a smile. I thank you very much, Greg, for taking time out and sharing your lovely, great, awesome wisdom with us. Thank you again. And this is Bernadette Chinley and Greg Gomez III coming to you live from and on Periscope.
All right. Thanks so much.
Marketing.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Greg. Bye now.